Hello, my name is Sandra Trevino, and I am doing my project on eyewitness reports. So why should we study eyewitness reports? Eyewitness reports are highly important when it comes to identifying the suspect of a crime. They are very heavily relied on and have always been. It's probably one of the easiest ways to collect data, though it may not always be correct. But it is also a highly important research topic in cognitive psychology, human memory, and even things like criminal justice, right? So eyewitness reports, however, can be affected by a numerous amount of factors. The way that we represent experiences and process them in our memory is due to our knowledge of the world and experiences. And this is by Loftus in 1975, which is the main study. And it's just saying that basically they're very highly subjective. People's experiences differ a lot from one another. Other factors that influence the way that we recall events, which is discussed in these studies, is how witness report questions are worded. So misleading information given before and after a test, also aspects of our faulty reconstructive memory, and even stress and anxiety can all impact the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. So if you're in an event where it's very traumatizing what you're looking at, of course it's going to alter some of the way you process things, right? And many other things. But this is from Sutherland and Hain in 2001, and it's also one of the more modern studies over this subject. So in order to become better at questioning witnesses, it is very important to further study and investigate which factors affect witness responses. And it's also obviously very important because, a lot of people that are convicted aren't exactly guilty. So how can we work on this so that we can not have people who aren't responsible for such a crime be in prison and vice versa, right? So I decided to do a little activity, and it's not exactly an eyewitness test, but it kind of shows how our brain will fill in gaps when it lacks information, and that kind of shows how easily it is to change our memory or to fill in gaps and change the way we remember things and stuff like that. So it ties into eyewitness, I think. So it was originally a YouTube video. However, I decided not to link it because I thought it'd be more fun to do it like this. So I hope that's okay. And I don't know if it's going to work because it has closed captioning, but hopefully it's the same. So, okay, I'm going to read a list of 15 words, and then you can pause the video after I finish the 15 words, and grab a pen and paper and write down these words after I say them. Okay, so I'm going to list the 15 words now. They are bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, wake, snooze, blanket, doze, slumber, snore, nap, peace, yawn, drowsy. So you can pause the video now, get a pen and paper, and list down the words that you remember. So hopefully you did that, and if you've resumed the video, the question is, did you list down sleep as one of the words? And if you didn't, great, I guess, but a lot of people in the YouTube video comment section were saying that they did write down sleep, which is interesting because that's just due to association, right? People tend to fill in gaps or make up stuff to fill in those gaps. And although it's not necessarily an eyewitness test, like I said, it does tie in with how malleable and easy it is to change our memory, which is something that happens a lot in eyewitness reports. So the main study of this project is Leading Questions in the Eyewitness Report by Elizabeth Loftus. So in this study, a total of 490 subjects in 4 different experiments saw films of complex, fast-moving events such as automobile accidents, collisions, and even classroom disruptions. And the purpose of these experiments was to investigate how the wording of questions asked following immediately after an event can influence the response to the questions asked later. The initial question has either true presuppositions or false ones. It is shown that when the initial question contains either true presuppositions or false presuppositions, the likelihood is increased that subjects will later report having seen the presupposed object. The result suggests that questions asked immediately after an event can introduce new and incorrect information. So this causes the witness to alter or reconstruct their memory of the event. So the way you word things will definitely affect the way someone recalls an event because of the cues within the sentence or within the question. So continuing on with a subsequent study, more modern study by Rachel Sutherland and Harlan Hain, is the effect of post-event information on adult eyewitness reports. So this study examined the conditions in which witness reports are influenced by information they come across after the event has already occurred. These people were exposed to misleading information and also leading information, which means that it was accurate information about that specific event 24 hours after it occurred. So they don't have, their memory is not very fresh at that point anymore. And they were asked several open questions. Some were asked to select their response from 2 different choices. And they concluded that the best way to obtain considerably less misinformed answers was through open-ended questions, right? They also concluded that eyewitness report accuracy depends on how much they can initially remember, and also on the nature of questioning, which they concluded was through open-ended questions was the better choice. They also stated that because this wasn't a study that was based on real events, it was even more so alarming because the misinformation was only said once, and they still were highly affected by it. So in real eyewitness reports, where people are more likely to encounter misinformation from multiple sources, such as social media or just media in general, police, lawyers, and etc., of course there's going to be a lot more faulty memories there. So that's why they were very shocked by it. Another study is adult eyewitness memory and compliance, the effects of post-event information on memory for a negative event. So the study was done by Pedro M. Paz Alonso, Gail Goodman, and Isaskun Ibabe. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And it studied how delay in questioning affects the accuracy of eyewitness reports, which also goes hand in hand with the other 2. 93 adults read a misleading or controlled narrative about the event and then completed a recognition memory test. They hypothesized that participants' compliance was positively associated with misinformation effects and that time delay affects accuracy. So they said it was positively associated, meaning like the compliance of a participant would go up as well with misinformation effects, right? And then the time delay affects accuracy as well. And they came to the conclusion that a 2-week delay is enough time to increase a witness's proneness to misleading information. And this happens a lot in real life, right? Because there's time between the time you see a lawyer, or between the time you go to court, and all these things. So that obviously affects your memory and recollection of what happened. So the time between the event and the interview, as well as exposure to misinformation heard or seen after the event, can lead to faulty memories. So the delay of the 2 weeks also impaired participants' recognition accuracy and increased their likelihood and susceptibility to accepting false information. This is what they're saying as well. So I wrote in a conclusion slide simply to reiterate the importance of these studies. Obviously, they are very relevant still, will probably remain relevant forever until we find a better way or a better alternative, but obviously it's very important to keep studying and keep further developing this because we want to have the right people in prison, not the wrong people in prison. And it's useful to find the right ways or the better ways to question eyewitnesses so that we get the right answers and not faulty memories or faulty answers. I also wrote my reference page. So again, Loftus, EF, Paz Alonso's, Sutherland. These are the 3 studies that I wrote about. Thank you very much.